Hi, everyone, from whatever part of the world that you're listening into this session today with one of our authors that I can tell you, when you get this book, not only are you going to be educated, you're actually going to start watering in the mouth. And I'll tell you why, because our author today is Monique from this amazing book, Monique Milenkovic, Celebration and Inspiration, the art of building a business with the power of community, care, commitment, connection, and cupcakes. Welcome, Monique.
Thank you, Susan, for having me on today.
Great. So we're going to get stuck into this book because it is not so much about what people might think. This great book filled with beautiful cupcakes that will just make your mouth water. It's so much more than that. It's really a book for entrepreneurs to learn about what Monique has done. Cupcake Queens is celebrating 15 years in business. That's an amazing achievement, a great milestone. And of course, your book, Celebration and Inspiration, is part of that celebration too. Thanks for being with us and sharing your knowledge, because as we know, it's no mean feat to be in business for 15 years. So you mentioned in the book that you never meant to build this kind of iconic brand that I know I love to visit. And when I go into High Point and all these major shopping centers, you started by just wanting to do a little cupcake shop in your local community. How did this accidentally become what it is today?
That's a great question, Susan. When I opened the Cupcake Queens in Williamstown way back in 2010, my dream was simple. It was to have a sweet little shop in my local community where I could do something that I loved, connect with people, and still be there for my family. I honestly thought I'd just be baking cupcakes, chatting to customers, and enjoying a calm work-life rhythm. But word spread quickly and the demand grew, and so did our team. Before I knew it, we were opening more stores one after the other and building an incredible brand that's now part of so many people's celebrations. The growth was never the plan. It was more a result of saying yes to opportunities, listening to our customers, and staying true to our values.
Yeah, I absolutely love that because, what people don't understand, I think, sometimes in business, if you do something well, the success comes because you put so much into this and from your heart. Cupcakes, who would have imagined that cupcake could end up as big as what you've got it here? And I know that you mention in the book that you don't believe in work-life balance, but more in the work-life integration. And I'd have to absolutely agree with that, especially when you love what you do. It becomes a part of everything. But you've got 5 children. I can't believe that. 5 children and now 8 stores that you manage. What are your hottest tips for creating that culture of work-life integration? And or are you just some type of superwoman? Because 5 kids, that's crazy, and 8 stores. So tell us a little bit about how you do this work-life integration.
That's a great question. First of all, I'm not Superwoman. If I can do it, I really think anyone can do it. It's a lot of hard work, but I'm definitely not Superwoman. For me, the word work-life balance sounds like a perfect plan, perfectly 50-50 split. For me, I don't think that's realistic when you run a business and have 5 kids on top of that. So I guess that's why I steer away from the work-life balance phrase. But I do believe in work-life integration, blending the two in a way that works for me, works for my family, works for the business, works for my husband. And sometimes that's leaning into something, might be the kids coming to the shop with me. It might be occasionally answering an email on my phone or taking a work call while I'm with my children. I am getting better at setting boundaries, but there is that integration. Our business is 7 days a week, 24-hour-a-day business. We bake cupcakes every single day. But sometimes I have to learn to say no to work so that I can say yes to my family. I do have some tips that I've learned over 15 years, and it's still a work in progress, especially in terms of different stages for your children and family, different stages of the business as well. When we're opening a new store, things change all the time. It's about setting clear priorities each week as a team. Some days you lean more towards Your team, some days you lean more towards your family. It constantly changes, and different parts of the business need more attention. Building a team that we trust so that I don't have to be everywhere at once, because with 8 stores and a bakery, that's just not possible. I'm incredibly fortunate to have an amazing team behind me, and it really is credit to them as to why I am where I am today, because I couldn't do it without them. Another tip that I have is really to drop the guilt. I know as mothers, often I hear this from other mums, they're just feeling guilty about this or that decision, or I should be here or I should be there. We've just got to drop it, because we're really not doing any service to anyone with all the guilt. We can't be everything to everyone all the time. It's just not possible. Biggest tip, which is still very much a work in progress, but I've also come a long way since starting the business, is just really setting boundaries and just being really clear with people in terms of your communication and your boundaries. And I think everyone is much better for that. And I know I appreciate it when people set boundaries with me. So it really works both ways. That's probably my number one tip, but I can assure you I'm definitely not superwoman. I tend to just know my limits, and I'm very good at asking for help.
Beautiful. And you're so right. In team really helps you to be able to step away and do what you're best at. And that's a true reflection of you as a leader, because you don't just end up with a great team. It's really about how you lead them, how they're seeing this as a part of their business, and they're just as excited about its success as you are. And that's fantastic. And I know that whenever I go in and get a cupcake from your store, everyone there is loving being there. I mean, how can you not, being surrounded by those beautiful cupcakes? So thanks so much for that. There's so much more in the book that you go into detail about. And we're used to reading books that are pretty bland in business. This book, I can tell you, is not bland, which I love. You've brought in that flavor of you and the cupcakes, but really it's an educational book that's beautiful to read as you go along. And I know that the book is also heavily focused on community and care. And that's obviously not just within your team, it's within your community around you, your customers. How do these two principles, how are they fundamental to your success? Tell us how you created your business based on these principles. And do you think sometimes entrepreneurs overlook this or miss these basics in involving your community?
It's a really great question. And I think my experience certainly relates back to when I opened the business in 2010 and right through to 2025. I'll take you through a little bit about my journey. From day one, our stores have been more than just selling cupcakes. It's been about connection with our customers and our community. We've donated to local charities, supported school and sporting fundraisers. We knew our customers by name. Community and care are woven into the DNA of our business. For me, business is personal. It's about making people feel valued, whether they're customers, whether they're staff, whether they're suppliers. And I think your question about do entrepreneurs or new businesses overlook this today? Maybe sometimes they do. There's a lot of focus at the moment on scaling fast and going viral and just this rapid growth. But for me, sustainable success comes from trust, it comes from relationships, and it comes from showing up for your community consistently. And I think that's where our business has been a little bit different in that regard. It hasn't been this quick race to the top or growing this many stores in this amount of time. It's really been, I think, in the background, just this focus on connection and our community, because we and will always be forever grateful to our community, because if it wasn't for that community from the very first store, we wouldn't have had store number 2 and store number 3. And I think that's really important to note. So really nurturing that community that's still with us to this day and still incredibly supportive.
Yep, I absolutely love that. I think it's so important at the end of the day. They're the ones coming back asking, can we get a cupcake from the Cupcake Queen? So I think that pertinent, and I think every business should look at that absolutely. So you give us a lot of solid practical advice. And as I said, this book itself, there's so much advice in it, but it's so beautiful as well. We've got lots of beautiful images and really sharing your personal story success, which readers are going to get so much more out of it than just these beautiful images. So when it comes to this advice that you give in the book, I know that you talk about know your numbers and have a robust system. For people starting out in business, what advice would you give them around maybe the first 6 months of their business?
Well, I can't tell you all the secrets because most of them are in the book, but it really is, it probably seems very basic to me now, but looking back, it's really about knowing your numbers, creating systems early on, even when you don't think you need them. You might just be a solo entrepreneur thinking, I don't need this. But if you get a big client and your business doubles and you need to bring a team member in, they need to understand the systems that you've got in place. I think even if you're small, like acting like a bigger business, so you're ready for growth, listening to your customers. I think feedback is absolute gold. And I'm always forever grateful to feedback, any type of feedback, because I just think feedback is a gift. I think it's one of the best things, especially for a business starting out. I think also, on a personal note, looking after yourself, I think burnout in the early days of doing business can really kill you personally and kill momentum. And sometimes without realizing that energy is passed on to your team members. So really just looking after yourself, which is easier said than done, because when you're on a growth path and you really love what you do, it's very easy to get caught up in your business. And I think be adaptable. Sometimes what you start with in your business might not be what you end with. It's a long journey. So just being flexible with change, whether it's the way your business is going. So just rolling with things a little bit as well.
I think you're absolutely spot on. How does someone like McDonald's expand exponentially? It's their systems. It's making sure everyone comes in. And I know that whether I visit one of your stores at High Point or another one I visited at Water Gardens, it's the same experience. It's the beautiful presentation. It's the come for one cupcake, end up walking away with three. And
You
like
should
you
be
said,
walking away with a dozen, Susan.
it's three that get home. It's a dozen that I buy. It's
Okay.
only three that make it home. But yeah, I absolutely love that. And like you said, that trust. What you've said is very important. You started out at just wanting to have a little cupcake store in Williamstown. If you didn't put those things in place, it would have been harder to then be able to go another store, another store. It's just about having those systems and those things in place. So I think there is so much knowledge in this book. We're going to put the link down for people to grab a copy. This is about people in business wanting to learn more about how someone with 5 children and a little cupcake store could build it to an 8-store business and still be here to share and pass your knowledge on, which is really generous. It's a beautiful book packed with powerful messages and information. We're going to put the link below for everyone to grab, but you can see how many sort of areas that we talk about: the concept, the community, the creation, the company growth, and it's really empowering for people if they're starting out in business, or even if they've been in business for a while. It's always a great check-in to see someone that's been in business for 15 years. The knowledge is powerful, the book is beautiful, so grab that with the links below. And we thank you for working with us to build this beautiful book that we put proudly on our shelves. People can get it in Dimmicks, they can get it in your major bookstores, they can also get it from the link below. You can get it from Monique herself. So all those information will be there. Any last words for the business inspiration for all entrepreneurs out there?
Susan, for me, in terms of inspiration for entrepreneurs out there, it's important to remember that your business journey is your own, not to waste energy comparing to someone else's highlight reel, focusing on your values, your customers, and the impact that you want to make. For me personally, success isn't always about being the biggest. Sometimes it's about creating something that you're proud of and building a life that you love around it. I'm really proud that I've been able to do that. So I think that's my final words of inspiration for entrepreneurs out there.
I love that. That's a beautiful note and a beautiful reminder that on our own journey, and when we do that, we are successful no matter what. Thank you so much, Monique. We have the links below. Go and grab a copy. Buy it as a gift. It's a beautiful gift for anyone that can learn from Monique and her success. Thank you again, and we will speak soon.